All right. Hello, everybody. I'm coming to you from Las Vegas today. And anyway, I'm not sure how the connection's going to be, so I may turn my video off here just to kind of reserve bandwidth on my end. You guys should be fine. But anyway, I'm out here at the biggest car show in the world called the SEMA show. And doing a little prospecting, talking to clients, getting new clients, all that good stuff. One of the things that we did find in getting commercial clients was the issue that they've got a lot of times is the price. So they're always wanting to know what the price is. And one of the things that we have found that increases drastically the difference whether that price matters or not is if you can relate it to something that makes it less painful. So, you know, from an SEO perspective or anything that you're doing, what your goal is to show them how to do something and show them the difficulties involved to where they get to the point where it's like, okay, I need that done, I want that done, but I don't want to do it. So when you get them to that point, then they're looking for the price. So rather than giving them the price, which a lot of times will immediately just shut it down. What you say is all of this can be done for less than it would cost you to get an employee in-house to do it. And then you'd have to manage them, you'd have to pay for all their taxes, all this stuff. So what that does, that relates it to what it would be costing them anyway, and they're going to be saving money. So it's kind of a smooth, slick way to overcome that objection of price. If any of you run into that sort of thing, that was one of the things that we've kind of found over the years, which is kind of a cool little technique. And then you can talk about the price, and you can talk about what an employee would cost them and the problems with that. Because there are a number of problems with employees. You know, when you try and become an expert at something you're not, and you try and hire people in to do a job that they aren't really qualified for, you can wind up spending a whole lot more and get a whole lot less, and in some cases even do damage. So anyway, that was kind of one of the things that we came up with as far as a sales tactic for a presentation when the price issue comes up, and it always will. You know, that's one thing, like any good salesman, they'll never give the price before they establish the value, because it's, you know, it shuts the prospect down. And that's the same thing with sales pages. When you're doing online marketing, it's the same thing. You know, you're dealing with the same person on the other end. It's just in a little bit different way. You know, a lot of if you read anything on copywriting or, you know, anything of that nature, what they'll tell you, the guys that are really good at it, they'll tell you that the tactics and the techniques and the strategies to make sales haven't changed in hundreds of years. You know, we as people, we're still people. We haven't changed that much. You know, we haven't like evolved in what we want and how we want it and what we're willing to pay for it. That stuff is pretty much the same. The only difference is the medium in which the sales message is delivered to us. You know, it used to be television or face-to-face. You know, you'd have the guy show up at your door and come in and give you the sales spiel until you buy or die. You know, and it's the same thing. But the difference is you have to tune into the media that you're delivering that message now. It's so easy. Like when the guy showed up at your door and you let him in and he's giving you the presentation, it's hard to get him out the door, right? It's much easier just to say yes to get him to go, right? That's one of the things why that worked so well. But in this media, we don't have that luxury. They can turn us off anytime they want. You know, if they're on a sales page or they're watching your video and you hit any point at all that they don't like it, they just click off. They're gone. It's easy. It's easier for them. So you just have to understand the, the current media and how you use that to deliver your sales message. Really important. And, that goes across SEO as well. There's a huge connection now for ranking in the search engines and that user experience. If people are clicking off your message, you're going to send bad signals to the search engines, and they're not going to value your content as much. There's two things about content now. Google will pay attention to your content if you do good on-page optimization and you get a few incoming links. No doubt about it, that algorithm has not changed. So if you want to get noticed in the search engines, that's the way to do it. That's one way to quickly get noticed. But now it's like a split test is going on. And when they notice you, let's say they put you up on the first page, they're putting you there for a reason. They're putting you there to test you against the pages that were there prior. And if you don't convert as well, you're gone. And what I mean by conversion is Google looks at user intent. When a user does a search, what was their intention? Was their intention to get information? Was their intention to simply answer a question? Was it transactional? Were they looking to buy something? Were they looking for your contact information? And Google tries to decipher that and figure out if the person got what they needed. And if they did, that's a good user experience. So if your user experience is delivering on that, you will stick and you'll stay at the top, and you could rise above even the ones that are above you once you get onto the first page. And ultimately, if you are the best user experience, you will beat out other people that have a better linking profile than you. I guarantee it. If you can get on the first page and you can prove that through the user experience, you will outweigh others that outlink you. I've seen this over and over. If you have any questions, go ahead and hop in.
I have.
Go ahead, Anthony.
Good to see you on. You didn't have the on the video, and I just had
I'm just gonna turn my video off here real quick because you're broken up. I don't know if it's a bandwidth issue on my end or on your side, but I'm in a hotel out here in Vegas, so I don't have real good bandwidth. But go ahead, let's see if we can get it through.
And you.
Are the rest of you guys hearing him? Because I'm not.
Me, John. Good.
You're not breaking up either.
You said, John, if you have a good and you on the site, and my question that with sites. Now, I'm on page 1. I'm have me below. I'm trying to get above. I have a experience. For example, one of the average 6 minutes. 6 minutes on time. I have 7% bounce rate on PBN. It way you told to say, trying to follow that it off. I'm buying a little, and I'm not doing pay-per-click. My product is up to the top. User experience at Google thing suppressing, I think.
Okay.
Want to rank.
Sure. Yeah, so for that, if you're up there and you've got a good time on site, you've got all of that, you've got really a good user experience, The other piece to that that I didn't mention is actually traffic. And there's another factor to it as well, is brand recognition. So when it comes to the user experience, there's a lot of things that Google's rank brain is looking for. So one of them could be brand recognition. And what that means is, are people running searches in Google that attach your brand to your keywords? That is a really good factor to help Google establish that, hey, you are a quality content provider. People know about your business, and they know that your business is related to this particular keyword. So if you can get people to search like that for you, that is really good. Like if you run a press release, instead of putting the link to your site, you can put a call to action in the press release. For more information, go to Google and type in and then put your brand name and then a keyword that you know you rank at the top for. And then if people do that, that will send that signal across. There's another crafty little trick for that. And I don't, this is kind of interesting. I don't know that I really would recommend it, and it's a lot of work to do, but you can do resume sites, or not resume sites, hiring sites. You can post a job, and as part of the application process, you run them through, this process of running a search for you, finding information on your site, and doing something and writing about it. And E-Rock, I don't know if you guys know E-Rock, that's one of the things. He has a whole course related to that. And it's a lot of work. It's, it's kind of the long boat around, but it is a tactic. And anything like that, anything where you can engage the world outside of search to encourage people to search for you in a particular way, will do that. That is one of the things that our Rainmaker tool does. If you're not familiar with that, we have developed a tool probably 4 or 5 years ago that was called Rainmaker, and it's a whole network of computer users. Everyone that joins the Rainmaker network, they put the app on their desktop or their phone, and it gives us a user out in the universe that can run these searches for us. And it's a way to game the system. They said RankBrain was ungameable. Well, we've been gaming it for quite some time. So we're about to release the second version of that probably in about 2 weeks. And we've now got it working on Apple devices, including Apple desktops, Apple laptops, and iPhones. So what the new version is going to do, it's going to work on all those applications, including Android, all the Apple devices. And what it does, it will look at the geolocator in your tags on your website. Like if you have a schema tag that's got your location on it, it will identify your location, and it will start looking for devices in our network that are close to you. And it'll start running those searches for you, attaching the brand to your keyword, and then giving that good positive user experience through this network of devices that we've got out in the world. And everyone that joins, their devices become part of our network. So it's actually real computers, it's real mobile phones, it's real devices that are running these searches. You don't have to do anything other than just install the device. Everything runs behind the scenes in a headless browser, so you don't even really see what it's doing, but it's running the search, clicking through, spending time on the pages, clicking deeper, ultimately landing on your contact page, getting some information, and then closing the browser out. So to Google, it's like the ultimate user experience. And that's a tool that we've created, like I said, about 4 years ago when I saw this whole shift taking place. But the new one, the version 2 that does all the mobile devices, it's going to be an absolute blockbuster. Because as you know, a lot of stuff has moved toward mobile now. So, and another thing too, if you're trying to get a good positive user experience out of your own content, like you said, I think you said you had people on there average of 6 minutes. That's awesome. That is,
Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
yeah, that's really good. And having your bounce rate down, that is really impressive. That tells me that you've got good quality content. The only other factor to that is Google deciding, did the people get what they came for? And a lot of times that means if they click to a different site, they hit something, possibly they close the browser out at the end, which there's no way you can control that. But leading them through, getting them to click, that's another important factor. If if you're doing that, video is great for that. If you show like a video and they're watching your video, and then at the end of the video you have a call to action, like click the button below to see the next segment of the video where we talk about XYZ. That's a really good way. And then you tie that into, you're going to need that because what you just learned is just the first step, and I want to make sure that you get the whole thing. So if you you create the content really compelling like that, where you're telling them what to do and why to do it and what they're going to get out of it, that works really well.
Sounds like, I want to make sure that I understand you. So your position, you don't necessarily need, don't necessarily need to do pay-per-click to rank consistent the top of these, or are you not saying that? Are you saying
okay, in pay-per-click,
the thing with that is that backlinks, a few thousand on backlinks.
Yeah, backlinks are important, but if no one's following the backlinks, that's telling Google something too. So let's say you've got great user experience, you've got all these backlinks out there, but you don't have a lot of traffic outside of Google. That is that's an indicator. So anywhere where you can get traffic outside of Google is going to be a major plus. Whether it be traffic from Facebook or Instagram or YouTube or even Google pay-per-click. The fact that you're getting traffic outside of the organic search tells them that you're important, even if you're paying for it. Another thing too, that kind of brought up something. I was talking to somebody out here in Vegas the other day, and they threw out a cool little trick for ranking YouTube videos that I wanted to share with you guys. If you're doing any kind of YouTube, this is something, it's brilliant. I never really thought about it. I'm always putting a link in my YouTube videos back to my own site, which, it does help your site. But here's the thing, YouTube is getting scraped constantly by Google and by all of these RSS feeds and engines, and everybody scrapes Google content. And they scrape it immediately, pretty much within minutes of you posting it. So what you can do when you post your first video or any video in YouTube, while the video is rendering, it will give you the address of where the video is going to be. So what you do before the video is even rendered and published, you go back and you edit it and you put the location of its own video link in the description. So what happens when that thing gets scraped and picked up and broadcast, it's got a link back to itself. So it's self-promoting itself. And it gives it a big boost right out of the gate. So that's a cool little trick. And then, a few days later, you can go back in and edit it again and put the link to whatever you want in there. But it'll give that video itself a big boost. So that's kind of a cool little trick for YouTube if you want to rank your YouTube videos quickly. And when they do rank in YouTube, that also pushes over a little more power into Google too, if you want to rank them on Google.
Chad, are you talking about the video URL?
Yes. Yeah, when you post a video and it's rendering, if you say I'm done, it will give you a link to the actual video. It'll say, here's the link to your video. It's not up and ready yet. So you copy that, you go back into your control panel for YouTube and you edit the video while it's still being rendered. And you can do that. You can change any of the text and the tags and all of that stuff. Even the title, you can it will allow you to edit it while the video is being rendered. So that's what I'm talking about, and pasting that link into the first part of the description in the YouTube video. And then just go ahead and let it render out, and when it posts, when it goes public, it'll have a link back to itself. So but you got to do it quick, because, you know, depending on how long your video is, they can render pretty fast, you know, anywhere from, like, I've seen them render in like under a minute. But like this video here, when I put up a, you know, an hour-long chat like this, you know, it might take 10 minutes for it to render out, so you've got plenty of time. But that's a cool little trick I learned this weekend. All right. Anybody else? Any other questions or problems you guys have been running into? But traffic is a really good indicator for Google, especially if it's brand related. So go ahead, Ted. Guess we lost Ted there. That, or I can't hear it. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay, because I know when you guys are talking, it's pretty broken up, and I think it's because of the hotel I'm in.
Hello?
Yeah, Ted, go ahead. We can hear you.
Yep. Creating channels. Being times. Different title descriptions in each. Yep. Same technique you with it.
Oh, yeah, I'm not.
Did you get that?
I just got a couple of words of that. I don't know. I can see Anthony and Cheryl. Do you guys hear that, or is it broken up? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear it.
I can hear it.
Okay, yeah, it must be me. I apologize, guys. It must be my connection here. Yeah, I am. It's all broken up when you guys are talking. I'm only hearing about every third word. But it sounded like you were talking about channels and other optimization inside YouTube, which we've covered some of that stuff in past calls and things. But with I'll just kind of give you a brief rundown of like what some of the big factors are in a YouTube video as far as ranking. The big one is the title. Obviously, you know, the title should have your keyword in it. It should also, if possible, have a compelling reason to click on it. You know, another thing, if you're putting up information stuff, putting the year in it, putting the year in the title so they know it's current. If they see like 4 posts on the same thing and yours has the year in it and the other ones don't, I can almost assure you will get the click. And the clicks matter. You know, it's the engagement after the click. Obviously, you've got to have good content, but that's a big factor, is getting that click. You know, if you don't get the click, you won't have the opportunity to get the user experience. So the click really is the first thing you should be concerned with. And this is the same with your page titles for on-page SEO for Google. It's getting the click-through ratio. That's the first indicator that you've got good content. So putting the year in there has been a good factor. The other thing is putting things in there that address questions, because a lot of times people are asking questions. And when I talked earlier about user intent, if you have a user intent where you're answering that matters to Google as well. So if they're asking questions, if you start your title off with the answer to the question and then you truncate it where they have to click through to get the real answer, that's a really good way to get them to click. So the craftier that you are, about getting them onto your content, the better off you'll be. Another thing too, if you're trying to get people to dive deeper into your site, there's a really good way to do that is to break up your content. Like let's say you have a top 10 page. You've got the top 10 things related to your niche, and these are the things that you need to have if you want to be successful and make money in this industry, whatever that may be. And you can do it, with whatever you can do. I had a guy that did personal injury attorney, and he had a really brilliant one. He said there's 3 things or 5 things, I forget how many things, but it was a short number. It was either 3 or 5. There's 3 or 5 things that you absolutely have to know within 30 seconds of being in an accident. And if you don't, it could cost you everything. You could lose your home. That's pretty compelling. If I saw that, I would want to know what are those 3 things. Because if you get in an accident, you've got 30 seconds, it's a little late to learn those 3 things, right? So that's what you want to strive for, is figuring out what's that thing that you can offer that they have to have. They won't be able to sleep at night if they pass on it. And when they click on it, you give them the least valuable one first. And then you count it backward to the number 1, the biggest thing at the end. And what you can do, you can split those amongst 3 different pages. If you have a top 3, you can hit them with the first one on the first page. When they get to the end of it, tell them what the second one is about, and then they have to click on it to read the details. And then same thing with the last one. This is the last one. Click here to find out the biggest factor, and this is the thing that really is going to matter. So you're leading them through your pages. And that makes, to Google, that looks like a fantastic user experience. You can see there's a lot of examples of this. I see it all the time when I go onto sites that show the movies. Like my wife and I go to a lot of movies, and we'll go online to look and see, what's playing at what time, at what theaters and all that. And over on the side, they've got these advertisers, and they're really, really good at this. They will put these things up, and it's the top 10 lists. And I swear to God, you get on them and they just freaking go forever. But they're creating this user experience that is phenomenal. It's absolutely incredible. I saw one, I forget what the title was, but it was something about Leonardo DiCaprio just bought some, $50 million house or something ridiculous. And it said there's, see where he lies in the, in the top 100 people, celebrities with fancy houses, or, something like that. And he was like number 99 or something. You had to click through 99 pages to see where the hell he was. I mean, I got caught up in it. I spent 45 minutes on this site just clicking through, looking at all these people's funky houses. And those sites, they outrank everybody because of that user experience. It's like, if you can figure out in your niche how to do that, how to get those really compelling ads, whether you're putting them on Facebook or you're putting them on pay-per-click, or you're just putting them out as link bait. When you guys are link building, you should really be focused on quality. If you're putting links out there, links are as important as a click-through as it is if you're doing paid search. And a lot of people discount that. They do linking like they just spray it against the wall to see what it'll stick. That stuff does not work anymore. If you're going to put the effort into building links, just spend a little more time, and you don't need as many links. If you get a good link out there that people are actually clicking on and going through, that is like gold. That you just cannot get any better than that. Look at this from Google's RankBrains perspective. If they're looking at your profile and they see you've got 10,000 links and nobody has clicked on any of those links in the last 10 days, Yet they've got you up at the top of the search engine and they're sending you 100% of their traffic, or 100% of your traffic is coming from them. That's a little fishy. They're not going to trust that very well. Now, on the other hand, if you've got, say you've got 50 links out there and they're on sites that have your audience and people are clicking on them and you're getting traffic from those, and you're getting traffic from Facebook, and you're getting traffic from YouTube, you're getting traffic from the paid search. People are coming, they're getting a good user experience. Google is very greedy. They do not want to miss out. If there's good content out there, they want it. They're very serious about good quality content. It's what their business is built on. If they lose that reputation, they lose their advertisers. That's where their money comes from. That's where their backbone sits. So if you want to be in line with them, if you want them to send you traffic, you've got to get on their boat. You've got to be providing what they want to provide. If you do, you'll be their best friend and they will treat you very, very well. And if that goes on, you'll never get hit. If you're doing this stuff, like I do this for a lot of real businesses, and when I say real businesses, I'm talking about like brick and mortar stuff, people that have been around before the internet was even here. They're not just like, I see a lot of people that are doing affiliate marketing and they come and go. When it goes bad, they dump it. A real business owner doesn't do that. They will adjust and they'll move forward. When their client base shifts, they shift their products. They don't just abandon it and go into another industry. So that's what I'm referring to. And they don't really have the luxury of trying to game the system to get a quick bang for the buck. They're going to be around tomorrow, and they're going to be around next year, and they're going to be around 10 years from now. They really can't afford to risk their business reputation on gaming the system to get quick Google love that's going to last for 10 minutes. So all of the stuff that that I talk about, it's all long-term, really solid strategy to get Google to love you forever, not just today or tomorrow. When you're building quality content, you're building link bait that's on sites that has your traffic, it goes back to one of my core philosophies in SEO. And I've been saying this and preaching this for over 10 years now. If you're doing stuff that makes sense to a real business owner, it's always going to make sense and matter to Google. If you're doing stuff that doesn't make sense to a real business owner, then you're probably putting yourself on the radar and potentially in jeopardy. Like a real business owner, think about this. A real business owner doesn't have time to go ahead and be doing things like disavowing links. Really? They don't care. That is something that just flat puts you on the radar for, hey, I've done some evil stuff to you, Google, and can I apologize and make up? No, a real business owner doesn't do that. They spend time focusing on their business. They focus on promoting their business. They focus on coming up with better products. They focus on coming up with better marketing. They focus on their customers. So if you do that, you create content in that way that matters to your customers, I guarantee you Google is going to like it and they're going to reward you for it. So, really just kind of take a step back. And that's why I developed ACT. ACT is really a conversion model. It's the conversion model that ad agencies use. And it has become so important to search. If search is important to you, I really encourage you to go through that ACT program, because that is the protocol that ad agencies have been using for over 100 years. Why they don't miss. It's also why they're so expensive, because they don't miss. But it's not that complicated. ACT stands for analysis, creation, and traffic. And the analysis part is so important so you can understand what your market really wants, what's important to them. Because if you don't figure that out first and you start creating content and you don't know what's important to them, I can almost guarantee you the content's not going to matter to them. And if it doesn't matter to your user, Google's going to see that and they're going to respond accordingly. So traffic is on the end, ACT, analysis, creation, and then traffic. So the problem I see with a lot of business owners and a lot of marketers is they jump in and they think content first. They think, I got to create a blog, I got to create posts, I got to create content. And all they're focused on is keywords. They're focused on keywords to try and game a system that lost interest in keywords many, many years ago. You know, in 2006, Google started collecting data on user experience. So from that point forward, they have been edging and edging toward user experience versus keywords. And, you know, keywords obviously are important, but if you look today, if you look at where things are transitioning, look at how much search is now done by voice. Voice search is much more conversational. It's not just a keyword. Think about it when you see a lot of younger people are doing voice search almost exclusively. Like when I look at my nieces and nephews, you know, every other sentence is, hey, Google, you know, because that activates the voice search. They say, hey, Google, and then they ask their question. Well, their question is never just a keyword. Their question is a question. You know, it's a conversational thing. Like, hey, Google, how do I find the best pizza place in my city? You know, that's what their questions now look like. So that's what Google is interested in, is answering that question. So if you figure out what those questions are and you start answering those questions, you could potentially get position 0. For those of you that don't know what position 0 is, it's a new thing that is a snippet that they're putting at the top of search that answers questions. And that is like a prize. If you're providing the content, the best content to answer that question, Google rewards you with a prize. Remember I said, if they like you, they will reward you. That's one of their top rewards. When they feel you're the best provider of the answer of that question, you get the prize. So a few weeks ago, I did a little segment on that about what's important, how to game that system. So you might want to take a look at that. All right. Any other questions here? You know, if you guys could type them in the chat box, that would be great. Because like I said, it's really kind of broken up over here. So Gregory, he put an example out there. The top 10 successful teen traders. That's a great example. You know, another thing is like the top 3 ways that teenagers are making money from trading. He runs a thing about, you know, trading through financial trading. And one of the things he's doing, he's working with his family and the kids and showing them how to make money with his trading system. And he's literally proving that a teenager with no experience can follow simple instruction and make money by trading. So yeah, absolutely, Gregory, that you're right on the right track there. So that's pretty cool. Ted asks, what kind of help do you find most people need? I really don't know that there's a category of help that most people need. If I were to break it down, I would say guidance. Most people just need to know what to do next. Whatever that is, I've found that, you know, in internet marketing, I've found it in SEO. I've found it when they're stuck, generally they're stuck because they just don't know what to do next. So the way that I've tried to address that, two ways, in our community. One is with this call. If you're ever stuck, you get on this call, and generally it's better than it is today because I can typically hear you guys, but I apologize for that today. But this call is for that. If you guys are ever stuck and you don't know what to do next, this is, every week I'm here for you for that. For the people that were stuck on conversion, how to convert, how to create good quality content, I created the ACT program. And it literally is a step-by-step. And again, like I said, I really encourage you guys to go through that. If nothing else, not to, and I don't want to encourage you not to do it, but if not just to do it, just to get an idea of the way business works. Because I can almost guarantee you any successful business has followed that method or that protocol. And if they didn't follow it, they got lucky, and that luck is probably not repeatable. Every once in a while you'll see somebody that just falls under a lucky star. They get into a business and it just goes gangbusters and everything is peaches and cream until they go and try and start another business. And then because they didn't realize what it was about that first model that actually worked and they can't repeat it, they typically fall on their face. So everybody that I know that has gone through that system from A to Z, every one of them has changed their business model because they look at things in a different way. They look at opportunities in a different way, and they see them for the value of what they really are. A lot of groups, there's a lot of masterminds that they just want to know what you want to do, and then whatever you say, they're going to encourage you to do that. When there's no analysis, there's no research behind it. You don't even know if there's a market that exists. You don't know if that market can even afford to support your sales efforts. And to me, that's not a way to go into business. If I'm going to go into a new business venture, I want to know, first of all, that it's profitable. I want to know there's enough people that actually want what I'm thinking about offering. If you look at an ad agency model, they do a lot of front end work. They talk to the market. They'll do market surveys. And I'm not saying you have to do that, but you can get a lot of that information online. You can go onto Facebook and you can look at groups that are in that niche, and you can see how many people are in this group. Does the group have 10 people in it, or does it have 10,000 people in it? If it's got 10,000 people that have a problem and there's a hole in the market and you can provide a solution to that, then I would say that's a pretty good opportunity for you to build a product and fill that hole. But if there's 10 people in there and they've been in there for a year and there's nobody new coming on, I would say you might want to think twice about building a business around that. It's really, really common sense. A lot of it is just, it really comes down to that. So that's what that's what the ACT program is all about. It just models the success pattern of an ad agency. And think about that. There has been a lot of household products that were just a common thing at one point that were turned into a household name because of ad agencies. It was strictly because of that. It wasn't just because they created the product. It was because somebody took it out there and marketed it properly. Like Kleenex. How many brands of tissue are on the market? It was the marketing behind Kleenex that literally made it a household name. Same thing with Xerox. When you go to buy a Xerox machine, you don't walk in and say, hey, can I have one of those Brothers things that makes copies? You go, I need a Xerox machine. When you go into a store and you're looking for Kleenex, you're not asking for some specific type of tissue from another manufacturer. You just say, where's the Kleenex section? You know, that they've literally taken basic items and turned them into household names. And if you want to know how to do that, that's how you do it. You figure out the market, you figure out what they want, and you build a brand to that. Or a product. You know, you can build product brands underneath a bigger brand. You know, examples of that are Procter & Gamble, Johnson & Johnson. How many brands do they have under that parent company brand? You know, a lot of them you don't even know who owns them. You know, you just know that, hey, that's the brand. You don't realize, you don't associate that it's a Kimberly-Clark product, or, you know, a Procter & Gamble or a Johnson & Johnson. So the reason this is all done is really it's user experience. Imagine that. Imagine it ties back to user experience. That's why Google looks at that so importantly. You know, like I said, we haven't changed for hundreds of years. It's just the medium. If you can take what works, you can take what's worked historically, and you can match it with the medium, then you can deliver it to your audience. And that's what search engine optimization is all about. That's what conversion marketing is all about. That's all the ad agencies have done. The only thing that's different now is we have the internet. The internet has made it really easy. And the internet has made it affordable for people like you and I. Like, if you think back 20 years ago, before we really had access to what we have today, could we really afford to come out with a product at a whim and advertise it on TV where it needed to be advertised? There's no way. It separated us. It held us back because the barrier to entry was huge. But now, you know, the playing field is leveled. We can get an idea in the middle of the night. We can hop online. We can see if the market's viable, and we can start creating a product to fill a hole. And we can get that product out literally in hours, you know, days, weeks. We can move fast. And big companies, that gives us an advantage over big companies because they don't move that fast. So we can see markets emerge that, you know, may be just here temporarily, and we can take advantage of that. I know a woman that makes over $1 million a year on a print-on-demand store that she doesn't even own. She just created an account on a print-on-demand store, and she researches what is hot. She uses BuzzSumo. She sees what's hot, what's trending, and she creates products around it. She'll create print-on-demand designs, and they can get that saying or that logo printed on anything, a mug, a t-shirt, a beach towel, whatever. She carries no inventory. She literally makes over $1 million a year doing that. So, and again, it's all based on analysis. She's not creating products just because she likes them. She's creating products because there's a hole in the market that she can fill. And like I said, if you go through that ACT program, you'll see how that works. You'll see the brilliance behind creating products and creating marketing around human needs. Because that's who's going to buy your products. You know, markets don't buy products, people buy products. So you've got to segment the market. You've got to figure out what's the profitable segment in the market. And then what do they need? What's their pain? What can you help them with? And provide that, and it's almost a sure thing. The only thing after that, after you've created that marketing material for that, is just getting it in front of them. That's where the traffic comes in. All right, so Cheryl says, you mentioned something last time about automated sales attendant. Okay, what that is a piece of software that is available to you guys through our membership. I've given everyone 3 of them. What an automated sales attendant is. It's a video program where you can create an interactive video. And a better explanation of that is it's a video segmenting program. So basically it starts with a single video that's like your introduction. And it's what a salesperson would actually do in the real world, which is sit down with you and start asking questions. They're asking questions to figure out what's important to you so they can base their sales presentation on your words, not theirs. What's important to you, not what's important to them. So to give you an example, if we were dealing with a real estate site and you wanted to use the automated sales attendant, you would create a simple little short video that said, you know, hey, welcome to my real estate site. My name is Joe Realtor, and I'm happy you came here. I would love to help you out, but let me ask you this. Are you here mainly to buy your house or to sell your house? And at that point, a button comes up. 2 buttons come up inside the video, and they have to select buy or sell. If they select buy, then it goes to the next video. And the next video would come up something like this. You know, that's awesome. We have a great inventory of real estate on the market that's right here in the local neighborhood. And let me ask you another question. Are you buying a house because you're moving up? Is your family growing? Are you maybe a single mother just looking to get a new roof over your head and get by? Or are you looking for a bachelor pad? Because those are 3 very, very different needs. So then you have 3 buttons that come up, and now they have to select, you know, is it single mom, is it growing family, or is it bachelor pad? And again, these could be any questions that relate to, you know, whatever your business is. But if you had a sales process, it's going to go something like that. You're going to be asking questions to find out how you could best serve them. And that's what the automated sales attendant does. And it does it through video. It's a brilliant system. It's a way to have an interactive video on your site to segment your audience to get them exactly what they want without losing them. Because that's the biggest thing. When somebody comes onto a site or a page, a landing page, and it doesn't relate to them, it doesn't pertain to them, they don't feel it, they leave. So that's one way that the interactive video salesperson, the automated sales attendant, can actually help you in fixing that problem. You know, it could get them exactly the experience that they're looking for on your site. Yeah, you have to put several videos together to really make it work, but it's such a good thing to have. You know, it's well worth that effort. And where you find that, if you log into the news section of the site where it's called bonuses, there's a link in there that shows you how to log into it, and you have to have the account created first. So all you have to do is just put in a support ticket to me and tell me what username and password that you want associated with it. Your username is going to be the email address that you use for your membership. So really, you just need to tell me what password you want, and I'll set that up for you, and I'll set you up with 3 of them, and then you can do that. And basically, once it's done, once you get it laid out, it gives you an embed code, just like YouTube would do, and you embed that on your site, and then your video pops up, and it starts the sequence. It's really, really cool. And like I said, that is a free bonus to you guys. As long as you're members, you get access to that system, as well as a bunch of other stuff. There's a lot of stuff under that bonus tab now that I've added on just in the last couple of months. There's another software in there about the whole rank page position 0. There's a software in there that will actually run an analysis on your site and tell you where the holes are if you want to rank in position 0. You know, if you want to answer questions and get that big bonus, it will give you the the parameters of what needs to be fixed on your site to get that. So pretty cool. There's a lot of new stuff that I'm working on and developing, and you know, you guys as members, that stuff all gets passed on to you guys. So there's never extra charges for any of that stuff. The only thing there would be an additional charge for when we release Rainmaker 2, that is a paid program. I work with a bunch of programmers on that, and we've got a deal where it's a rev share between me and them because they've put a lot of work into that program. But all the other stuff in here, it's all information and services and products and software and stuff that I pass on to you guys whenever I can. All right. So any other questions here before we wrap up for today? And again, I apologize. You know, a lot of times I'm out traveling, and sometimes I get a good connection, and sometimes not. But I will be back next week. I'll be back in the office, and we'll be on solid ground. So, all right, guys. Well, if that's it, I'll go ahead and wrap up for today, and hopefully we'll see you on the call next week. If you have any questions or anything, just feel free to shoot me an email and get back to you as quickly as possible. Thanks for being on here, and we'll see you next week.